Hello and welcome to our brand new City Skylines 2 series. My name is Blake and I am a certified project manager, and today I figured it was time to put my skills to the test, not in an office because God knows the job market is terrible right now, but by developing a fully planned, well-structured city from scratch in City Skylines 2. This is Pebble, a city inspired by Boulder but kind of on a smaller scale. Every decision that we make from here on out is going to be very intentional, from the road layouts to the zoning and infrastructure, so that way we can create an efficient, thriving city. So let's get started and let's lay the foundation for what will become one of the best managed and strategically built cities you've ever seen in your life. Hopefully. Before placing any buildings, I wanted to make sure we had a solid road network. The biggest challenge that we're going to face is going to be planning for the inevitable overflow of incoming traffic as Pebble grows. If we're not careful, we could end up funneling too many vehicles into one part of the city, creating bottlenecks and congestion. To prevent that, I had to be mindful about the size of roads and intersections that we use and how we direct traffic into the city. The goal is to distribute traffic evenly and make sure major entry points connect smoothly to the main road network. I started with a mix of arterial roads and smaller local streets, ensuring that there were going to be clear pathways for future growth. After completing the road work, the first major development was our Waterfront neighborhood positioned along the riverbank in our valley by our starting tile. This area is a prime location for new residents and gives an older, established feel to the neighborhood. I kept the road layout pretty simple for it as well, with a few curved roads to blend with the natural terrain and foliage. Once our low-density residential was in place, the next step was to add commercial and mixed use just outside of it. This space is going to serve as an economic center for our early city, featuring shops, small businesses, and about to be our first medium-density housing. One new feature that I took advantage of was the new one-way roads with angled parking. I really do love these new assets, and they're great for organizing traffic flow and keeping things looking a little bit more realistic. The commercial hub not only provides jobs, but also ensures that residents don't have to travel too far for their daily needs. This setup will help us minimize unnecessary traffic congestion as the city grows. With the residential and commercial zones now set up, we need industry to support the jobs and local production. I started by developing our timber industry. This was an obvious choice given the dense forests that sprawl through the valleys in our starting tile. This development provided raw materials for export and for the future city expansion. As I was expanding our industry, I also planned out a suburban neighborhood over on the right side of the city. This area will serve as a transition zone between the low-density homes and future medium and high-density developments. By laying down the initial roads now, I'm ensuring that future expansions won't feel cramped or disorganized. Everything's just going to kind of flow together. Moving on, every growing city needs infrastructure. So I added our first elementary school to provide education to our first residents. Instead of using one of the standard style schools, I opted for an urban elementary school, which better fits our compact, walkable neighborhoods, and it just looks cooler. I also planned ahead by marking a space for future high school and more medium density and high density developments that will be taking place down the road. Another essential addition was the cemetery. While not the most glamorous part of the city planning, it is necessary for long-term city management. Placing it early in a very central location ensures that we don't run into problems later with it. At around 3,000 population, I ran into my first major financial challenge. The city was running on a deficit of about $250,000 per month, if not more, and I was on the verge of bankruptcy. The cause was the same low tax rate on residential, industrial, and commercial sectors that I made initially to encourage growth, but they were now plummeting us into extreme debt. This of course put a massive strain on the city's budget, and I tried to figure out how to save our city from financial ruin. So in order to stay afloat, I took out a $400,000 loan to cover expenses while continuing development. Instead of cutting the city services that our citizens had been attracted to in the first place, I focused on a strategic expansion to increase taxpayer revenue. This was really the key to recovering from this financial debacle, was just increasing density without drastically raising the taxes to still continue encouraging growth. I also prioritized office development to diversify the job market and to generate more tax revenue for the city. Once the budget crisis was under control, the city's growth exploded. It had taken us about an hour to reach our first 1,000 residents, but from there, things accelerated very quickly to 10,000 in about the same time. Thankfully, the carefully planned zoning, improved roads, and additional services have been keeping people happy, and we were back in the green with our budget and had our population increasing at absurd rates. In order to keep up with the growth, I expanded our medium density housing near the new high school and added more office buildings, providing higher paying jobs for new citizens. I also expanded the industrial sector on the left side of the city, introducing our first landfill and a couple of coal mines to provide energy and to create a production surplus for exports. As the city continued to grow, I started preparing for future high-density neighborhoods as well. I expanded the road network in some of these areas to lower traffic congestion, and then added more apartment blocks to the central part of the city to increase total density. I think our citizens would like to do something other than work too, so I decided to improve quality of life, and I included parks and added a new low-density neighborhood in the West Side River area. With a growing population, crime was also bound to be an issue, and we did experience a small bump in crime, but I made sure to add a police station before it got too much out of hand. And that is it for our first episode. We built a very solid foundation, overcome a financial crisis, and we reached our goal of 10,000 residents for our first episode. All of this while keeping a strong focus on smart city planning and efficiency. But there's lots more to come. Next episode will be continuing our expansion, refining traffic flow, and developing more high-density areas. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and make sure you subscribe if you want to see more. I'll see you in the next one.